Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Genuine Business Stories. I'm your host, Clint Strom, and today we're joined with the amazing Heather Michell. Heather has built a successful career in real estate and now is excelling as the business development rep for Envision Title, a company that helps individuals and families navigate a home buying process with ease. With years of experience in both real estate and marketing, Heather has developed a unique perspective on what it takes to thrive in today's competitive market. Heather, we're so excited to have you on the show today and to hear about your journey and the lessons you've learned. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So, Heather, you've had a dynamic career so far, starting in real estate and now working as a business development representative for Envision Title. Can you tell us a little bit about your background and what led to your career in title?
Well, my position in title has been a recent development. I got into it some months ago, back in October, after years of being in real estate. And I was actually having a conversation with somebody in title that I am friends with and I respect greatly. And she said, you'd be really great in that role. And I had never thought about it. And it just kind of went from there. I kind of put that on the shelf. And then this opportunity came up with Envision Title, and I dipped my toe in, and next thing you know, I was diving into it. So here we are.
Well, that is great. So with Envision Title, what about marketing have you found that you've really loved?
So I've always loved real estate. I've been involved in it for over 20 years. Mainly as an agent. What I love about title is getting to know, I know the title process from an agent's perspective, but I've loved being able to be on the other side of it. And I've really learned a lot more about title that I really didn't know there was to know. And I love leveraging the relationships I've built over the years with other agents to see how I can serve them on this side of the transaction. So it's been really great to really see how I have been able to build such good relationships and to have people then come over to me as title and trust me with their transactions and their clients.
So have you found that because of your background and being successful in real estate, that it has better equipped you to help now that you're in title, your customer base with your real estate agents?
Yes, I think it has been extremely beneficial to me. I know what it's like to be on the other side of that as an agent, and I know what I expect, and I know what I always wanted. And so I think that I have that unique insider perspective, so to speak, to bring to agents, and I know what offers value to them. Of course, that's going to differ individually from agent to agent, but I feel like I know what they go through. I know what they're looking for, and I just know what they need from us in the moment when things pop up, when situations happen. I know how important their clients are to them because I know everything they had to do to get to title.
So I'd like to back up a little bit. With the success you've had, there's always a story that leads to it. Let's discuss a little bit about what you did before real estate, which led you into title.
So what I did before real estate?
Mm-hmm. What kind of led you to your path, which has now put you to your position with title?
So I got into real estate. I was in my 20s, and I got married when I was 23, and we knew we wanted to have children, and I knew that I wanted to either not work or be able to be flexible so that I wouldn't have to put my kids in daycare. That was not something, when we discussed it as a couple, that was not something that we wanted to have to do. So we enjoyed looking at houses, and we enjoyed being nosy and seeing what was going on. And we kind of just were like, my then husband and I, let's get our real estate license. Let's get into real estate. And it was kind of like, okay, let's do that. And so what it did is it afforded me the ability to replace my income, but still have a flexible schedule so that when we started having children, I could stay home, even though I wasn't a stay-at-home mom in the true sense of the word, because I was working as a real estate agent. So it allowed the flexibility that we wanted for our family.
So with the real estate business, do you remember when you kind of had that breakthrough that you knew, okay, I'm going to see success?
Yes. So it's really funny because it was one of those things like I didn't know it was happening while it was happening. So we were doing real estate. My then husband still had his job. And then I was working real estate while, being home with the baby and all of that. And so we're in it. And you're always trying to get more business. You're always trying to make more money. And it's kind of sad because it's like, it's never enough. And I remember after our second or third year in real estate, so this was like 06, 07, I was doing our taxes. And when I sat there and I had to pull everything together and I looked at the money we made in real estate, and that was only with me doing it kind of part-time-ish, I realized how much money we made. And I was like, oh, I didn't feel like that at the time. And I said, okay, well, we're really like moving forward with this. We're really on our way to progressing to maybe being where we want to be. And it was odd. It was an odd moment that's what made me realize it. But that was kind of the first time I realized that, okay, we're doing this, So, I don't know.
Was there a time before that where you thought, what have I done? Should I do something different or?
Well, you have those moments, and any agent, any entrepreneur, I think, but especially as far as real estate has those moments where they're like, what am I doing? I need to just go get a job, or I need to just go do something different. You have those moments frequently.
So now we're going to move along to your current position with Envision Title. I know you through various networking groups. So I know that you're quite successful and that everybody loves you. So,
thank you.
So marketing can be tough, especially
Yes.
in some of the environment we've had with our title industry. Have you ever in this career started thinking, oh my goodness, can I have the success here that I had in my previous career?
Yes. So, when you are in a sales role, marketing, I think you do have those moments. But I'm really, really fortunate, which is sometimes not something you have in real estate. Sometimes in real estate, you can be on an island. I am fortunate to work for the company I do. I have a weekly one-on-one call with the person that kind of oversees all the reps. I have the support of the other reps. So even when I have those moments, there's then always the opportunity for us all to come together. We talk about what we're doing, what's working. We get ideas from one another. So sometimes in those moments when you're thinking like, what am I doing? Or this isn't working, or maybe your month isn't going the way you'd like it to go at this point, it's very, very encouraging, and you might get an idea that can help you, or you might just get your cup filled just enough to where you kind of have that moment, you get over it and you move on and you do what you need to do.
So what does a day look like for Heather?
So I try to fill my days with appointments. So I like to be one-on-one. I like to get in front of people and talk to them about what they need or what I can do, and just build that face-to-face rapport. I am a member of a networking group, which, that's how we met. I go to other networking things. I try to do events that I can bring agents together, either to network for something fun, or I try to do classes and give agents information they need. I have my notary. So if I have to go and close to accommodate an agent and their client, I will absolutely do that. So no day is the same for me, but I try to keep it filled with relationship building activities or things to help agents support their business. Or sometimes it's just an admin day and I need to support my business. So, every day is different. And that I kind of like, because you can never be bored in this job.
So, do you put together CE classes for real estate agents?
Yes. So real estate agents are required to do 18 hours of continuing education and renew their license every 2 years. And so there's a lot of ways that agents get that. I mean, you can go and you can buy it online, do it, knock it out. A lot of other people and I put together CE classes. We try to offer that complimentary as a value add for agents. So I do that a lot. But I don't just try to throw out any old CE just for the sake of the credit. I try to do things that agents find helpful because even though it's free and even though you need it anyways, I never want somebody to leave and say, wow, that's 2 hours of my life I'll never get back. There's a lot of classes out there like that. And I try to do good, valuable classes that they can use.
Well, that is good. So do you ever do any cross CE classes? I've been to one where, as an insurance broker, it counted towards my CEs to come in and when I was networking with the title companies.
No, I have not, but that's an interesting concept that I'd like to discuss with you.
It very much it accounted for both, meaning there were real estate agents there, and I forget the class, but it was a dual credit where it would work for the insurance industry and for real estate. And maybe it was an ethics class because ethics can kind of
Okay, so you guys can use the same ethics classes that agents can use?
I had never checked into it. I just know that it was signed off on, and when I went into Ciron, which is where I go to see, I had credits applied.
Well, Clint, we're going to have to discuss that because that is, I would love to do that. I think that's great because I have insurance referral partners. You know, we do things together for agents. I refer business when I can. You know, I think you guys are going to get it more from personal referrals and from real estate agents. But I would love to offer that to the people that help me do what I do as far as sponsoring events and connecting me with who they know, just like I try to connect them with who I know. So we need to get together
I think
on
that it could be beneficial, especially to your home and auto agents.
Okay.
As a commercial insurance broker, I only deal with business insurance. So,
right.
So my networking isn't as extensive with title companies as other agents are because of the crossover for customers.
I did not know that was a thing. That's good to know.
So looking back, are there any milestones or successes in your current path that you're especially proud of?
So,
or in life? We can discuss that too.
Well, as far as life, you know, a few years ago, I went through a pretty big life change, and I feel like I've managed to reestablish myself and kind of my new me. So I'm proud of myself for that. As far as title, the successes I've had, I'll kind of go back to what I said earlier, just having people seeing how people see me outside of real estate. Cause I did real estate for a long time as part of a team. And so I did venture off and do it on my own briefly before I got into title. But I've really enjoyed, I guess the milestone for me is just having people that are doing business with me and hearing how they feel about me and the way they see me professionally. So that's been, I guess, I don't know if that's a milestone or just more of an eye-opening experience for me since I've gotten into this. And I've really, really enjoyed connecting with people as me and not as the team and kind of the setup I was in prior. So
with what you do, very much your business is relationship based.
Yes.
So let's let people get to know you a little bit.
Okay.
How many kids do you have?
I have 3 kids. I have a son and 2 daughters. And so my son is 19, my daughter is 17, and my youngest is 13.
And all 3 the apple of your eye.
Of course. They keep me busy, and most importantly, they make me laugh all the time.
Are they active in sports and theater and stuff like that?
Yes. So my son was an athlete. He still is. He does jujitsu, and then in high school he wrestled. And then my oldest daughter is a volleyball player, and she's been doing that for a hot minute. She'll probably do that in college. And then my youngest has been enjoying theater. I don't know that she'll get into sports. She really wants to kind of go down this road. She's super creative. So She really, really enjoys theater and video editing and all that kind of stuff. So
A couple of crossovers I noticed. The jiu-jitsu.
yes.
My grandson is taking jiu-jitsu, and I went to his class when he got his first stripe last night.
Yes, I would love it.
And it is cute watching them work with these youngins.
It will, and I'm probably biased, but I feel like I think that jiu-jitsu is superior to most other martial arts. As a matter of fact, I got into it myself and was training. Unfortunately, I stopped going right before I got my blue belt, so I probably need to pick that back up. But, my son was into it and I was going all the time, and I started doing it myself. And it really is, it's really good for anybody. And you can even do it when you're old and your knees hurt. You just have to be careful.
Yeah, it's been more my back that's concerned me with it.
Yes. And so you have to be careful. But, there are people of all ages that train jiu-jitsu successfully. So it's really a neat martial art.
With my grandson, we call it ninja class.
Oh my gosh, that's so cute. That's cute. How old is he?
He's 6.
Oh my gosh. Well, he should stick with it because it will be wonderful for him. And when he's older, he can get, and it's not as easy to get your black belt in jiu-jitsu as it is in other forms. But once you get there, it's so worth it and it's so rewarding.
Well, I think that my kids like I say kids, they're adults. I'm the old one, not them. They're in their prime.
Yeah.
That they like the aspect of the martial arts that helps with the mental side of it. The starting to teach him to think through processes and things like that. So it wasn't just a self-defense class for them. It was a life learning class for the other aspects of martial arts you can pick up. Mm-hmm. And the other tie back in is my daughter. She was in theater, very creative and photography and video editing. And
yes, that's what my little one is.
And she is a successful real estate agent now, but she'll still do some photo shoots for people and editing of that. But growing up, she loved theater.
Well, all of that creativity and video editing and photography all can play into her real estate business. So it all ties together.
So as a marketing manager, business development rep at Envision Title, how do you blend your knowledge of real estate with your marketing strategies to support your clients and grow your business?
Well, so, that goes into knowing, I know the struggle. I know what these agents are going through trying to lead generate. I know what they're going through showing houses, listing houses, doing open houses, managing their contracts. A lot of them have TCs, but some of them don't. TC is a transaction coordinator. I get it. And I get the frustrations. I get the rewarding experiences. And so, but most of all, I understand that by the time, like I said a minute ago, by the time they get to us, chances are every once in a while you get an easy one, you get a layup, but a lot of the times you don't. And I know that they have just been through it by the time they get to us. And I don't. And so what I want to do is I want to take some of that off of them by doing a good job and doing what we do. And I want to be an extension of them with their clients. And so to tie that back in to kind of my point of view, there's nowhere, unless it's a specific situation that an agent has been, that I haven't been there before. So I understand. And even if they get frustrated with us, I get it, because I've been there.
And it gives you the ability then to go back and walk them through the process of where you're at to kind of give them some confidence that you guys are on top of solving whatever problems come around.
And I'm accessible, and I try to really tailor what I offer to them and what they need for their business. I don't want to just be offering all this useless stuff that nobody needs.
In today's world, social media is a huge part of promoting businesses. Tell us a little bit about how you use social media. I know that I see your reels. You are amazing with your reels and engaging, and it keeps people wanting to see what you have to say. So let's talk a little bit about
I
'Cause I
mean,
think you do a reel, at least every morning, or
so I post on my stories every day. I don't post a reel every single day, but I do post on my stories every day. And, I'm not a social media genius. I'm still trying to figure it out. I could probably be a little more intentional, a little more pointed in how I do my social media. But sometimes I think even just being there is half the battle because it's work. I mean, to post every day, you have to be in it every day. And sometimes we just don't feel like being in it. And I have days like that. I try to be a good mix of personal, professional, funny, serious, but the most important thing I try to be is me. Of course, you're not going to always tell all your most personal business, but I think the worst thing you can do is go on social media and not be genuine. And so I post things that I find funny. I post a lot of the silly things my kids do. My kids are like, why are you, every time I want to take a picture of them now, don't post it, don't post it. I'm not posting it. Some of it is just for me, but they're like, why do you post us so much? And I'm like, because I'm proud of you. And because y'all do stupid things and it's funny. And other people out there have kids that are doing stupid things and they can relate and they enjoy it. I try to post information about, real estate, but now title. There's certain things on the title side of things that I take for granted that people know because I know it. And you really can't do that. You have to remember, I'm trying to remember that not everybody thinks about it all the time like I do. So I don't want to take for granted what they should know. So I try to even just put seemingly basic information out, but maybe it'll help somebody because they probably really didn't know that. So I try to keep it a good mix of everything. If you look at my social media, it's not niche. It's not every video is the same about the same thing. It's all different kinds of things, but I like that because it's going to reach different people at different times. So I try to stay consistent with it and I am mindful about what I post, but every once in a while you'll hear a bad word or a tacky joke because that's also who I am. And if people want to get to know me, then that's part of me.
So you had touched on your kids going, Mom, quit posting our stuff.
Yeah.
For each one of your kids, give me that proud parent moment, an example of that for.
I mean, as they grow up, there's so many.
Well, it can be more than one.
I think just with my kids, just seeing them accomplish things, my son, for instance, he tried many different things before he settled into his love of jiu-jitsu. And so he didn't discover that till he was like 13 or 14. And so I'm like, okay, like what's his thing going to be? And, we're kind of having this moment with him where he's just kind of, you go through the ups and downs with your kids and like their attitude and y'all's dynamic and all of that. Well, when he discovered jiu-jitsu, I mean, it was off to the races and his trajectory was straight up and he leaned into it and he loved it. So seeing him excel and that he was so good at it, he was very fortunate that he trained with very high level people all the time. So he just took to it like crazy. So I was so proud to see how he excelled in that so quickly, which then led to him getting into wrestling when he was in high school.
Real quick, and we'll hit wrestling. What belt's he at with his jiu-jitsu?
He is a blue belt.
Blue belt?
Yes. So he started in the kids system and went all the way to the max with that, and now he's a blue belt.
And my daughter was showing me yesterday that there's a conversion where there's belts for kids,
yes,
and then you transition at a certain age and you start over in the belts for adults, working your way through, or?
So you don't start over, you just start at blue. I mean, it would depend, I think, on where you're at. So my son, for instance, when he turned 16, his professor could have moved him right into the adult system and would have made him a blue belt, but he decided to keep him on the kids side of it for one more year because my son was competing. And what he didn't want was my son to be in there competing with, adult blue belts 4-stripe blue belts who have been there for 6 years. He wanted him to be able to grow a little bit more. So he kept him on the kids side of it and gave him a green belt on the kids side. Now, when my son turned 17, he had to go into the blue belt, but at that point he was more ready than he was the year prior. So,
does he serve a role where he helps his instructor with the kids now when he was doing that? Because I noticed yesterday in my grandson's class, there were older students in there that had paired off with these young kids and were giving them instructions for their submission holds and things like that, how to do a proper mount or side mount. And
So he didn't do that as much. He's going to be doing more of that now. He's moved to Kansas, and so he's training there now. But yeah, blue belt is kind of like a teaching belt. And so that's
where at in Kansas?
In Lawrence. But they're about to move. He and his roommate just found another place, so they're going to move closer to Kansas City.
I lived in Overland Park for a couple of years when I was in leadership with
I think they looked in Overland Park.
Company.
Yeah.
And I've got family in Olathe and Wichita and in Emporia. So that was our childhood vacations because Dad was from there, and that's where his siblings were. So it wasn't that we didn't take other vacations, but annually we would go back to Dad's home to see family.
You have to.
Yeah. So go ahead with what you were saying.
So yeah, blue belt I think is kind of that's the best way to kind of, from what I've been told, is move into your purple belt, and it kind of helps you grow to be ready for the higher belts, is to get in there to teach. So in a lot of gyms, you will see the blue belts and the purple belts helping the younger classes or assisting the professor with demonstrating a technique or things like that. And so he didn't do it as much when he was here, but I know he wants to go more into that role. So he's 19 and a blue belt. It's perfect for him. So it'll help him grow and really develop through his stripes and be ready for his purple belt.
Now, how long did you spend training jiu-jitsu? And is that where he kind of first got the idea that he would love to do it? Or did you get it from him?
I got it from him. He started doing it, and I was always there, and they're like, you should do it. You should do it. And honestly, I didn't want to. I have a thing with feet, and it grossed me out that there's all the feet. You're walking, everyone's sharing the same foot space, and people, I don't know, that, and it looks terrible when you watch it, like the positions. It just looks, I don't know. It was a lot of body contact, a lot of foot contact that I didn't think I was into. Well, they finally talked me into it. Some ladies whose kids also train there, they were doing it, and they talked me into it. And you do get over that. A good gym will not allow shoes on the mat, so they stay pretty clean. But I got into it, I guess, back in 21, 22. And I haven't gone in about a year or so. So life started lifing, and I got busy, and I just didn't make it a priority. And I should have kept it as a priority, and I'd like to go back to it. It's a great release. It's community. The cardio is fantastic. As a woman, it can't hurt, it's a really good sport for anybody.
Well, I can tell you, I wouldn't want Ronda Rousey mad at me. It'd be a yes, ma'am, no, ma'am.
Let's be real. It's got such a practical application. It's beneficial to anybody.
Yeah, it is. So now let's go on to your next child.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So we spent a lot of time there. So my daughter, she is a volleyball player, and she is tall. She's 6'2". Well, we measure her. We think she's more like 6'3" now. But
you're fairly tall. Did she get the height from you?
Yes. So I'm not 6 feet tall, but I am tall for a woman, and her dad is tall. So I think it's just kind of one of those. And then she just got a little bit more of it than I ever did. So because she's tall, she kind of got put into volleyball when she was 10. She was 5'11" when she was 10. And so she got put on a young team, but on the top team, and all the girls she played with knew volleyball. They were good at it. It was a very, very good team. And she kind of got stuck there and didn't know anything. She'd done a little bit of developmental, but wasn't really a volleyball player. So it was really cool to see her have to pick that up so fast and to learn and to really have to earn her spot over and above simply being tall and really kind of rise to the occasion. She was thrown in. She was thrown in the river and told to swim. And she did. So it's been really cool to see her develop in her volleyball career to where she is a top player. And I've enjoyed watching that progression. And just it's amazing to see how far she's come because she had to.
Well, that's great. Did you play sports when you were?
No, I was in band. There's always thoughts when I say that, but it's who I am.
When we're stressed, where do all of us turn generally? It's either the Lord or it's music. Or it's music in the Lord.
That's right. And I love music. So that was a good fit for me. I don't know that I would have been good at sports, but it was never something that was talked about in my house. So I never really pursued it. So who knows, maybe I would have been good at it.
Both of my cousin's kids were in band. And the son was actually one heck of a football player.
Oh, wow.
And because there's not an instrument that he can't pick up and learn how to play quickly.
Yeah.
He's just that musically talented that he made the decision to go be in band when it wasn't as if he was just a mediocre football player that wanted to be out there with his teammates. He was really good. And it was like, Dad, I love music more. So
yeah.
He transitioned to the band.
I love that. I love the love of music because I love it. My kids love it. It's just, even if you can't play it, if you can always tell when someone has a deep appreciation for music, and different music means different things to you, and it really can affect you positively, hopefully, but and it can take you back instantly to anywhere. Yeah. It has that ability.
It does, especially for those of us raised in the 80s, I think, with 80s music. And
yes, like you remember, like, oh, this is what I used to listen to. It was the summer of, blah, 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 whatever, like on Golden Girls, picture it, Sicily, 1932.
I hear like I love
you go right back there.
I hear I love rock and roll, and it immediately takes me back 7th grade in the roller rink.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I used to do that when I was young too.
Yeah. So, okay, we have, I believe, one more child.
So my little one. So she is, like I said, she's 13, so she's going into 8th grade. And it's so funny. She's so different than the other two, than her sister. And so she's very into doing her makeup, and she's super creative. Like she's the one, remember in Pretty in Pink when she took that dress and she made a whole new dress out of it? Like she would be the one to do something like that. They're all creative in their own ways, but she's very much she likes theater. She likes making video edits and putting stuff together. She loves movies and she wants to go into film. And I've had plenty of eye-opening experiences with her, but one of the most recent, so she wanted me to take her to a horror con. And so then that's like where all these people who make horror movies and fans of all these different horror movies come together. And
are they dressed up in costumes?
They dress up. You can meet actors. You can buy merch, as the kids like to say. You can do all of that. So she wanted to go in Irving. So I said, okay, I'll take you. So we went for the day, and she knew who she wanted to meet. She likes the show Yellow Jackets, and one of the actresses was going to be there. She made a book for her. She had all her friends write something in. It was like a fan book. And so she met her with her own money, paid the $50 to meet her, to get her picture with her, get her autograph, all that stuff. So that was really cool. And then there were 2 or 3. She met a guy from Final Destination. She met the 2 guys from Creep. And so
have you seen the last Final Destination?
I haven't seen any of them. I don't like scary movies. I don't want to be stressed out. I don't enjoy that. So my 2 daughters love that. So they watch it. And their dad takes them to see whatever. I'm not going to do that.
I just watched the latest Final Destination.
Well, the guy we met was one of the guys that died. And I don't remember his name. But so we met those guys. And so she goes up and she has the opportunity to ask each one of them a question. And her questions were just so good. She asked one of them, because in Creep, apparently they had the same camera that they've used the entire time. And she asked them, what made them keep with the same camera or stuff like that. I mean, her questions were not the typical, oh my God, so what was it like to blah, blah, blah. Like she got up there and asked interesting questions. I know nothing about these people. I've since watched Creep though. That's actually a good movie. I know nothing about these people. I know nothing about their movies. I know nothing about anything. I was the transportation and I was interested in what she was asking. And so that was kind of my moment with her was that day. And then we went to the panels where you stand up in a line at the microphone to ask. And they're like, hey, friend, you were coming at it with the questions. And then she asked another good question. It was so cool to see how much she really knows and how thoughtful her questions were. Like, this is something that she's really interested in and she can really do this. And it was just cool to see that.
Well, that is good. Back to your business. So networking is a big part of it. Let's talk a little bit about the networking groups. Let's give them a little plug. So I met you at WOFO. Now,
Yes.
What is the entire name of that?
So the Wood Forest Networking Group, and it was started by Steve and Victoria Callender. So they're local real estate agents. That group, I don't know how long you've been a member of it. That group has been pumping for years. She started it, I don't even know how many years ago. We used to meet at Crust. Sometimes we would meet on the patio at Harvest Market. A guy named Jay Mickens used to run it with her. And there were no seats. Everybody just showed up. And we used to stand in a circle at the beginning of the meeting and everyone would go around and that was the commercial. And that was it. She went to seats, obviously, because it grew and grew and grew. And, there were times where it was slow. I went to one meeting and hardly anybody came. And I think there were times, and you'll have to get her on and let her tell you about it. But I think there were probably times when she was like, why am I doing this? And wanted to give up, but she kept doing it. And now it's the group you see today. There are seats. Other people attend every other week. It's a great, great group. It's been beneficial for me personally. I've met a lot of really cool people and it's been beneficial for my business.
Well, that's good. And it's a tough job to add that. I had started a network group called Referral Connect. And that lasted, I think, about 6 months. And keeping
Yes.
attendance up along with running my business just reached the point where it was like, I'm just not going to do this anymore.
It's a lot. It's a commitment.
Yeah, there was more benefit for me to go to other networking groups.
Right.
So are you involved with either one of our chambers, the Lone Star Conroe Chamber or the Southwest Montgomery County Chamber?
No, but I need to be. That's something that I've dabbled in chambers. I dabbled in the Woodlands. I was a member of the Woodlands Chamber for a while, but I want to do the Lake Conroe and what was the Magnolia, but now it's the Southwest. Again, for the same reasons, you meet people, you build good relationships, which can lead to business, or sometimes there's just value in having a good relationship, knowing someone that you can connect with someone else. So
And I'm part of both of them. They're both amazing.
yeah.
And with the Southwest Montgomery County, I'm a co-chair
Oh,
of a new committee we're putting together. So
Okay.
if you'll come and join that one, then I know enough people there to start introducing you around. With Conroe, Lake Conroe,
Okay.
I'm still learning everybody there, but both of them are great. But we have other mutual friends that with Conroe, Lake Conroe can help to initially introduce you around. I know with networking that first little bit is a little challenge if you don't know
Yes.
somebody.
Yes.
You go in and you try to find that balance between butting into people's conversations and getting to know people.
Yes.
Um,
Definitely. No, I would love to. I went to a mixer they had over off 1488, but I haven't really gone to much, but I do need to come and join y'all. I'll get with you on y'all's schedule so I'd love to come and visit and look at joining.
the leadership team with both chambers are amazing. I love
Okay.
working with both of them.
That makes a huge
They-
difference.
Yes, they very much want to help you
Okay.
be a part, but they want to help the businesses too.
Right.
It's not just come meet. They both groups do a really good job of doing what they can to work with the business community.
Okay.
So what are some other networking groups that you're involved with?
So Wood Forest Networking is the only one that I'm an official seat holder in. I go to the WOMTech meetings. We've seen each other at those meetings. I love that one. That one that Jennifer White runs.
Yes.
I love the vibe with that group. It's a little bit smaller, but everybody just seems to have a connection with each other. And it's very easygoing and comfortable. I really, really enjoy the meetings that I go to for that one.
I'm a little partial to that group. That is my main group, and love everybody a part of it. Jennifer is a great meeting member and leader. Mm-hmm. And we also have with WOMTech, Kiki started that organization.
Okay.
And it actually started in Florida before she moved here. And when she moved here, she wanted to open up a chapter here. And WOMTech stands for Women on a Mission to Earn Commission.
Yeah.
So when she came here, she wanted to start it. She ended up buying the company.
Okay.
And she's amazing. And that has now went into multiple other states where I think that it's just kind of took on a life of its own. So
that's amazing. I love that.
I know that we have somebody that has our title chair that we both know and
yes.
love, Karen the Connector.
Karen the Connector. She is fantastic. I worked with her as an agent. We networked, and she's fantastic.
And Karen, she also has her own podcast here with Lone Star Community Radio with Misunderstood.
I remember when she was starting that, she was so excited. I love that for her.
She does great with it and has fun.
Yeah.
I say all that to say there are other WOMTech groups that are in Montgomery County that may not have a title seat that would be worth finding.
Maybe I should reach out to Kiki and see what's going on with that. Because if the other ones have half the vibe that the one in Wood Forest has, I would be so down for that. It's a great group, and I find it hard to believe that she hasn't been able to replicate that in other areas.
I've been a member of a couple, and I'm probably fixing to join another one in Montgomery County just to add to the networking that I'm doing. So they're fantastic. Do you ever find that it's challenging to balance your successful career with your personal life and make sure you've got time for yourself, make sure you've got time for your kids while you are pushing? Because I know that with your position, you have to be on the go quite a bit.
Yes. It can be challenging. And when I really started this push to be intentional with my networking and to do a lot of it, I went to a networking thing and I met this lady named Sylvia, and she does outdoor home decor, and she's fantastic. You're going to see more of her. But, we met and we were like, okay, we're going to go to all these things together. And I love meeting people that I can network with. And we were going. And it was probably about a few weeks, a month of just nonstop, boom, 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 boom. And she was like, then we took a breath and she was like, I feel like I have a networking hangover. And so sometimes with what I do, balancing that with personal can be a challenge because there's events in the evenings. Sometimes I put on events. I did an event last week that was a wine tasting for agents, and that was in the evening. And so it's trying to balance that with trying to be present. My kids have activities. So yeah, it can be a challenge. And sometimes you just have to say stop, and you have to disconnect, and you have to take time to recharge, because you can really go as much as you want to, but it can take a toll. So, but I think that's the eternal struggle of any entrepreneur, any real estate agent trying to balance, family. I was on the phone this morning with an agent, and she's about to take a few days and go to Mexico with the kids. And she said her daughter said, do you think you can not be on your phone and be texting so much? And not disrespectfully, she's a top producing agent. She does really good business. But her daughter... Can
you be present with us even though we're on vacation?
And her daughter, right, because she sees herself as her client's lifeline and guide through this process. So when they reach out to her, if she can, she's going to respond. And so her daughter asked her that. They're leaving tomorrow. They're going to go for a few days before school starts and just take a small trip. And she said, you know what? She goes, I will absolutely do that. She goes, I'm going to have to check in periodically because they're going to be gone for like 4 days. But she's going to make an effort to not be engaged with work the entire time that she's gone. And I think that can be a struggle for any of us who are running our own businesses or who maybe work a business with a non-traditional schedule. You know, I make an effort to be accessible to my agents and anybody who needs me outside of traditional working hours, because real estate isn't just happening during traditional working hours.
That is true.
And sometimes you have to cut it. You know, I took my little girl to the movies last week and I'm like, I'm not going to sit here in the movie and be on my phone. I'm going to put the phone down and I'm going to be present with
Everybody
her.
else around you appreciated that.
Exactly. And you look around, even the movie theater, you look around and everybody's doing that. And, you know, my daughter doesn't always say something, but she notices. Because then sometimes she does say something. So it's just making that decision to be present, making the decision to not be at the table with your phone.
Well, I've read that there's something that it triggers in the brain that is addictive with
100%.
our interaction with our phones.
100%. I had this conversation over the weekend with somebody I know. He limits his kids' phone time because he said it's addictive and it affects their behavior sometimes. His kids are younger. Same thing. So all that to say, that's how you have to balance. Sometimes you have to put work down. Sometimes my kids have to understand that I have an event to go to, but I'll be home right after it's over and we can catch up then. Luckily, my kids are older, so it's easier to have those conversations.
Yeah. So what are some of the key lessons you've learned through the years that have helped you balance your personal life with your career?
Boundaries. As much as you want to be available for those you work with and for, I believe that you teach people how to treat you. And sometimes if you let someone run over you, they will. So sometimes you have to have boundaries. People have to understand that, you know, I'm at dinner with my family. But you know what? I will get back to you as soon as I'm done. I've also had to learn to be flexible that I can't. I wish sometimes I'm like, I'm just going to go get a job where I'm done at 5:00. But then there's a lot of perks when you have a flexible job. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. You have to teach people how to treat you. You have to be flexible. Every day is a new day. Like I said earlier, no day is the same. And sometimes you just have to learn to be ready for that and take it as it comes.
It can be a challenge setting
Yes.
boundaries. We want to help our customers.
We do.
And I have had to slowly through the years learn to set boundaries with customers of, you are not contacting me after hours for non-emergency stuff. I'm not your butler. I'm not at your beck and call.
Right.
I want to take care of your needs. Don't misunderstand, but little things like after hours, 7:00, hey, can you send me ID cards? No, I'm sorry. That could be something that you could have done during business hours.
Right.
Now if you've got to file a claim and an accident's happened, let's say I've got a commercial building that for a business owner that is burnt, we're looking at their personal property inside, then I very much expect that call whenever it happens, because there's concern as what do I do next, and that takes that stress off. But what I've learned with balancing is you want your time with your family, so it doesn't mean that you get to work your career during your business hours and then save little miscellaneous stuff till afterwards. And it's hard because you don't want to upset your customers and make them feel like they're not important, because it's very much you are important. But the same as with you, I've got a family life afterwards too.
Right. I mean, everybody has something that's important to them. If you don't have kids, maybe you have a hobby. Maybe you want to take your dog and go for a walk and enjoy your time. Everybody is busy doing whatever it is they have to do or they enjoy doing. And they have the right at different moments to disconnect and be able to do that. But I completely agree with you. Now, if I'm not really doing anything, and even if it's something that can wait, but they reach out to me and I can do it, I'm happy to do that. But it's one of those things, you take it as it comes, and you kind of get to know who people are as you work with them. And so you kind of know how to navigate that with each particular person. So it really is situational.
You're exactly correct. I have found the only time outside of thinking this could have been done during business hours that I put my foot down is when I've had customers that it is very, very minor stuff, and that's become the norm of
Right.
wanting to do business. Emails, text, did you get my email? It's 8 o'clock at night.
Right.
Well, I need this. Well, I'll get it to you in the morning. So,
Right.
And it's part of that work-life balance that we have.
Yeah, and it's a constant struggle. And listen, my kids have worked a lot with me. I mean, I was 39 weeks pregnant with my son and got the call after my doctor's appointment that they wanted me to check into the hospital that evening. So I went and I showed a couple houses, and I went home and showered, and I went to the hospital. My kids know what earnest money is. They know what option fee are. Now they're learning about title. It's just, they've done a lot of work with me. And so they've had to sacrifice a little bit, but there's also been a lot of perks. I've been able to be flexible and do things at times when other parents can't. It's give and take, and it's kind of that's part of the balance. So they don't always prefer working with me, but sometimes that's the way it goes.
So what do you see coming for the real estate and title market over the next 12 months? Do you feel like rates are going to be cut to where you'll see business start taking off even more, market starting to heat up, or what are your thoughts on that?
So I do. I think most people would agree that we did not have the summer that we anticipated or even that we wanted. But I do think that rates will drop enough to inspire more activity. And even as far as refinancing, there's a lot of people sitting at rates that they didn't necessarily want, but for whatever reason, here they are. So I think that we'll be seeing more refinances. So as far as title, that's good business for us because we handle refinances. So I do think we're going to see improvement. It's just a matter of when. I personally think it's going to be next year. Other people are saying it will be towards the end of this year. So we'll see how that shakes out. But if I know anything, if I can predict anything, it's that it's always the real estate market in any of these markets. It's cyclical. What goes up must come down and vice versa. It's going to come back around. Rates are going to drop where people feel more comfortable doing what they need to do. And we're going to see an uptick in activity. Absolutely. It's been that way for years. If we can come back from 2008, we can come back from anything.
Yeah. For anyone that would come to you and say, I'm either interested in going into title or I'm interested in a career in real estate, what advice would you give them?
It's not as easy as you think it is. I know there's a lot of people that think real estate is easy, and that's why they get into it. And that was the other part of the conversation I had with that agent this morning. The barrier to entry is very low for real estate. So anybody with a couple grand and a little bit of time can get into it. And so I think sometimes it's taken for granted, really, the gravity of what you're doing, the responsibility you have in helping people with one of the biggest purchases they're ever going to make, unless they're going to buy a plane at some point. And so I would say take it seriously, be a professional, stay knowledgeable, and be willing to work, because it's not easy. The people you see doing well, maybe there's some exceptions to that rule, but they didn't get there doing nothing and coasting and going to happy hour all the time. They worked. And as far as going into title, it's the same concept as it would be really with any sales job. You have to work. You have to do the activities if you want to see the results and make the commission that you want. Every day, there's something you could be doing that will lend itself to your business. And you have to decide, is this event I'm going to, how is this going to help my business? And it can help in many different ways, but is it helpful? Or are you just going to go? And if you're just going to go, is that the highest and best use of your time?
Don't you find sometimes there is a mix? There are some groups that I've been a part of where as busy as my day gets, it almost more has become that interaction with business friends that I need.
Yes.
That some of them, maybe if there's a fee, I've already in the past made enough in commissions off of my sales to pay for it. But then you can go through stretches where there's nothing coming in out of it. And
Right.
at that point, with balancing time, you either continue to go. Like our WOMTech group, I couldn't foresee anything that would get me to not rejoin no matter what was coming in the pipeline, because the group of individuals in that group, I very much enjoy seeing, and I'm seeing what's going on in their lives, at our twice a month meetings.
And that has value. Mental stability, anything that helps you keep your sanity, anything that lifts you up has value. And that's the thing, is when you're doing these things, finding the value in it. What's the value? Even if it's personal, that's who you need to be able to go to the next event or to the next meeting that isn't as personal, but is maybe more business oriented. But if you can go into it a whole and better Clint, then that has value. So it's really knowing where you should be putting your time, into what and into whom. Some people aren't going to be the best use of your time. And I don't mean that ugly, but just as far as your business is concerned.
Absolutely.
And so maybe then they shouldn't be fit into your day. Maybe you should try to fit them more into your personal life if you enjoy spending time with them. And that's all it's really going to be. So that's why I love the WOMTech group, because it does have such a good vibe. And that has to be the best part of your day on those days that you get to go to those meetings.
Yeah, it is. So with what you do, my personal thoughts, I could see that a podcast could be very beneficial for you and your business to get to know your customers. So if you did a podcast, do you have any idea what you might think would be a good name, or do you know what kind of content for that show you would want to have?
I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. I hadn't thought of the name. I know for content, I've thought about it as far as keeping it to people in the real estate industry and various aspects of the real estate industry. I've thought about it just local people and having it be like a local thing. Those are some things that I really need to nail down, because I want to do something that is helpful and interesting. So again, like I was talking a second ago, something that adds value. So sometimes there's value not in simply talking about what I do, but maybe, highlighting an interesting person, but I know it needs to make sense. And it needs to match who I am and what I find important. So I don't have any thoughts on a name, but I'm kind of leaning in the direction either real estate oriented or just community oriented.
Well, that sounds like it'll be a great show if you ever decided to do that. So thank you so much, Heather, for joining us today and sharing your story. Your experiences in real estate and marketing with Envision title, along with your ability to overcome challenges, stay the focused and course in your growth, and truly inspiring. We appreciate you taking the time to come on the show. And a big thank you to all the listeners that tuned in. We hope that you found inspiration in Heather's journey. If you know of a business owner with a great story, or even somebody with a very successful career, then we would love for you to reach out and to have you on the show. Also, if you're interested in sponsoring this podcast, please reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you and discuss having you be a part of the show too, here at Genuine Business Stories. Thanks again, and we look forward to catching up with you.
Thanks for having me.